Dan Sweet reads comics and then tells us what he thinks of them. Seems like a great gig.
Please state the nature of the medical emergency.
Sweet Dan Sweet isn't always so sweet. Here's Sweet Dan Sweet's bottom 10 of 2010.
Hey kids, Comic Book Man here. Welcome once again to my video Outhouse. It's time for
Sweet Dog and Sweet Dan Sweet's bottom 10 of 2010.
Bottom 10. These aren't the best of the best. These are the worst.
Crap on the bottom of the
These should
barrel.
already be in your trash can.
These are the worst of the worst, according to this man right here. This may not be your list. You may not think that any of these titles belong on this list, but according to Dan, who does a bunch of reviews and who sort of knows what he's talking about most of the time, just about all the time. You can tell by the look on his face. This is his bottom 10 of the year. These are the books that should have been better that weren't. And you're going to start from the bottom up again?
I'm going to start at number 10.
You're going to start at number 10. Okay, we're going to start at number 10 and work our way up to 1.
Which would be like...
So 1 would be the worst of the worst.
1 would be the worst of the worst.
Okay.
The best of the worst.
This number...
The least worst of all of them.
This number 10 is stinky, but it's not as stinky as number 1.
This is true.
Caught with this, you won't necessarily be arrested.
And your first one up.
It's an interesting juxtaposition because this creator had 2 books on my previous list, my top 10 of 2010.
Hits and misses.
Yes. This is Robert Kirkman.
Oh!
Pilot Season, Demonic.
Demonic.
Hated that book.
Now, did he write that?
Yeah, he wrote all the Pilot
Oh,
Season
that's right.
books.
That's right. That was the Kirkman's run.
The first run of Pilot Season. They did 2 this year for some reason. This book was just not good.
What's wrong with it?
It was about a guy who is possessed by a demon who is forced to go out and kill people so that the demon doesn't kill his wife and kid.
Right.
It's just, see, it's just... yeah,
So it's stinky.
Yeah, number 9.
Okay. Number 9!
Murderland, number 1.
Oh, you love Murderland.
I don't understand this book.
Maybe that's why you put it on your list.
I read so many comics.
Yeah.
It's really hard to stump me on something. I'm usually able to figure out what the hell is going on.
Right.
This book had people that had abilities.
Right.
But they just didn't do anything.
Okay.
They, like, had a lot of sex in a hotel room or something. Fought a couple weird people.
Okay.
But there was no rhyme or reason to it.
Oh, okay.
The art was excellent by, it was reasonable. The art was reasonable. By excellent, I mean okay.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Nothing spectacular, but reasonable.
But the book was so unremarkable. The characters were so... I can't remember anything about them. Except that it left a really bad taste in my mouth. I was just like,
Well, number 8 probably left an even worse taste in your mouth.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because that's Valkyrie by Brian Glass.
We were talking about this on another segment.
This was the only book I've reviewed that I've ever had anybody write me and say, "Hey, jerk, I really like that book." And
Hey, jerk.
And I don't even think the guy liked the book.
Yeah.
He just really liked Brian Glass.
Yeah, well, everybody's got friends.
Whom I respect as a creator because he created Mice Templar, but whom I hate as a human being because he did Valkyrie #1.
Oh, you don't hate him as a human being.
I don't hate him as a human being. I'm sure he's a nice guy. Brian, I'll buy you a beer.
But the guy you've got no use for, though, is number 7.
Yeah. Spider-Man versus Vampires.
Oh!
What a travesty that book is. I mean,
that was a one-shot. There
was a one-shot that was Spider-Man and Blade fighting in some vampire wrestling league. Black guys with ponytails. Yeah, it was just weird. You know what I mean? I just wasn't into that book at all. The art was really poor. It had an awesome cover, but other than that, the art was really poor. I hated that book.
Okay.
It was just, let's jump on the Twilight bandwagon.
You think that's what it was? Just the Twilight?
Twilight, X-Men versus vampires,
well,
all that
stuff.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It was all bandwagon jumping.
Okay, bandwagon jumping. Number 6, though. Number 6 was even better.
Even better at being worse. Fall of Green Arrow, Rise of Arsenal, #1.
Oh, okay.
Everything that
my arm hurts.
Yeah.
Everything
that was done to make Roy Harper an interesting character and a suitable heir to the Arrow throne as Red Arrow was undone by Jim Robinson, and then later further raped and mutilated by J.T. Kroll in Fall of Green Arrow, Rise of Arsenal, where not only does Roy Harper bitch and moan about the fact that his kid's dead, which is understandable,
Yeah.
but then he starts taking drugs and kills a guy with a cat.
He killed him with a cat.
Kills him with a cat.
Now, is it a dead cat?
I don't
So, I
even
mean, rigor
care.
sets in and he beats him to death?
I don't know. Yes, let's assume it's a dead cat because I can't imagine you could beat a man to death with a live cat.
You never can tell.
That book is really bad.
He killed him with a pussy!
Whoa. Same thing happened
Pussycat.
to Eazy-E.
Pussycat. Number 5!
Brigade number 1.
Oh, Brigade. That was Image. That's
Yeah.
Image. We were
It was
talking.
one of the lows in Image's year amongst their slew of highs.
We were talking in the top 10. I'm not going to reveal anything. We were talking in the top 10 a little bit about how Images had some first issues and some series come out this year, which are actually quite good.
Oh.
Okay, as opposed to what they usually have is only like one book that's really good and a bunch of junk. But Brigade number 1
is part of that rest of the junk.
Okay.
It was just crappy.
Yeah.
Like it based on a crappy idea by
Yeah.
Rob Liefeld. Nobody needed to dig in that toilet and pop this turd out
Nice.
fresh and moist.
Nice.
It's like, who stepped in this? Who was the editor who fell ass backwards into this assignment? Make Brigade popular again.
Yeah,
Go.
make Brigade
The
popular.
guy with the skull, the gerbil skull, embedded in his forehead, like some sort of Maharaji genie or something. I don't know. He had the double ponytail, like braided. It was just.
Lord
I
of
had
Marsupials.
no use for this. Everybody, they were all
The
brothers.
90s were wonderful.
They were all brothers. Bloodstone and
Blood-
Blood Murder Stone and
Blood-
Murder Man. It was just like, come on.
Blood murder
It
stuff.
was everything that people make fun of comics for is all shoved into Brigade, and they said, let's just make a book for people who are never going to get laid in their life.
Oh, man. Dan, making friends. Making friends there, Dan. Okay, number 4. We're on
Charmed number 1.
Oh, Charmed 1. Charmed 1.
1.
That's Xenoscope's adaptation of the TV
Yeah,
series.
I just, I didn't have any use for the show.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't have any use for the comic.
Okay.
And it was just really not well done.
Okay.
If you take something that has a limited audience already,
Yeah.
a show that's been canceled for 5 years,
Right.
and you introduce it to a new medium, what you're trying to do is bring some of those fans but also incorporate new fans.
Right.
And I don't think there was any attempt to incorporate anyone new into the Charmed fold.
Right.
You know what I mean? This is something that, has potential to grow the way the Buffy series has done in comic form, the way Angel has done in comic form. And this was just a misfire. You know what I mean? This was something that, it maybe if handled again later after this license expires and somebody else picks it up, maybe Charmed will make a viable property. This was just crap.
As I recall, the artwork was horrible.
Yeah, I didn't like the art either.
Okay. Number 3.
Eternal Descent number 1. Rock stars and angels and demons.
From IDW.
And it is just garbage. The art was poor. No rhyme or reason to the book. There's a guy who's like an angel, and he has a guitar, and he plays his guitar.
People die.
And things explode out of it.
Yeah.
And then he fights the demon
Devil's
with his
Rock
music.
That's a cool power.
Boo that power.
Okay, number 2. We're getting up there. Number 2.
Adventures in Mindless Self-Indulgence.
That's number 2?
It's number 2.
I thought that'd be number 1.
Well,
Oh,
when
man.
you see
I can't
number
wait for 1.
When you see number 1, you're gonna understand. But
I've been sitting here, and I said this in his top 10. I have not seen his list. I'm learning this as you are. Swear to God, I haven't seen his list. I assume though, Mindless is going to be 1 based on your review, but it's 2. I can't imagine what 1 is.
the only thing that I thought that redeemed Mindless Self-Indulgence from being the worst book of last year was the fact that they, in the smallest print possible, put a mature reader's suggestive warning on the cover.
Yeah.
Because this was a book that everything about it screamed, "Hey kids, grab me. I want you to read me." And there was everything from public oral sex and defecation, poop eating, because I can't think of anything else to call it.
Poop eating.
Yeah, you call it poop eating.
Yeah.
It was the worst comic book I've ever read. But
it wasn't.
at least they said it's for adults.
You're telling me it depicted the actual eating of poop.
Yes.
but it wasn't as bad, apparently, as your number one
What could
choice,
this be?
which is, for 2010...
WWE Heroes #1.
Oh, really? That's worse than poop eating?
It's worse than poop eating because it's just all poop. And you're supposed to just eat it as a fan of the WWE. Hey. At least Mindless Self-Indulgence had one panel of poop eating. Like, this whole comic
wasn't cover to cover.
I mean, this comic smelled. It was so bad. I mean, the idea that there's a big image of Triple H on the cover like this... And then he's compared to like Roman gladiators as he does battle with the Undertaker. And you know, they talk about them being these titans, and it's about gods that like wrestle.
Yeah.
It's about gods
Yes.
that come to Earth to be wrestlers.
Because,
What
else do you do?
I wanted to set that book on fire in the store, and he wouldn't let me because he was
No.
like, so
Gotta sell it.
I was gonna tear it, and he's like, "No, you can't do that either." So we did a review. Remember, it was the third book of a double review, and all we did was you threw the book in the air because that was the most I could get away with doing. But whoever created that book, believe me, I wanted to do more horrible things to your title than that. We should do a special segment where I back my car up over WWE Heroes, and then do one of these and watch all the pages tear up.
So you really didn't like it?
We can think of ways to destroy it.
So
I'm
you
just
really
saying
didn't
that there should be a special episode of Sweet Talkin' where we trash the worst book of the year. It's just a suggestion. I'm putting it on the table. We don't have to.
Works for me.
Well,
Put a
That is-
firecracker in there and close the...
That's the worst of the worst. All
that's
10
the
of those
worst of the
titles
worst.
avoid at all costs.
According to him. According to him.
According to everybody. Everybody can agree those are bad books.
No, I'm sure that because
Brigade
I am
number
sure that
one.
there will be letters on some of these saying, "Hey, man, I really like that book." So no, not everybody, but you, yes, you. That's your
Forward all letters about this to Santa.
yes, the Sweet Dan Sweet.
Santa.
Care of Sweet Dan Sweet.
Care of Santa at the North Pole.
Care of the North Pole. Care of the North Pole. Okay, so that's it. We're done. We're finished. We're out of here. We hope you enjoyed his bottom 10. But you can go to the store's website and see not just his bottom 10, but his top 10 and all the other hundreds of reviews that Dan has done, which gives him the cred to do this show in the first place. And where's the store's website at?
Sarah!
www.myalternatereality.com. Think of what could happen if you don't go.
So stop off at the store's website, check out all of Dan's reviews. Until next time, this is Comic Book Man
And this is Sweet and Sweet.
Thank you, Dan.
saying bye.